Now before we go any further, I'm going to make one more drawing and we're going to talk about selection a little bit more. So let me make that first drawing. We're going to move over to our toolbar and we're going to grab the circle. Left click, we've got that selected, and when it says specify center point for circle, we'll left click anywhere to the right of it, drag it out to here. This looks fine, and left click again to complete it. And now the circle's done. So as I previously mentioned, if you want to select something in AutoCAD, all you have to do is drag your cursor over it to when it's illuminated, just like so. Left click, strike the left click, and now it's selected. If we want to select part of this triangle too, we just drag our cursor over it, and we can select that very easily too. Left click. Now that part's easy, but in AutoCAD there might be some times where you need to select something that's very specific. So if you want to select something specific, I'll show you what to do. Here, first we'll escape from this. Hit escape. So let's say I want to make a unique selection. Here's how it's done. Bring your cursor to somewhere above the triangle and circle. You're going to left click, and I'll show you how to do a selection window. Here's how you begin. You're going to left click just once, and just like that, you've now begun your windows. Anything that is inside of this window completely, inside of this blue square, will get selected. In this case, the circle gets selected because it's completely inside of this blue window. Here, I'll demonstrate on both. So if I move my cursor over to the top left corner, I left click and release. It's like we can see the selection window. We bring it over both, and once they're both fully inside of the blue selection window, I left click again, and now they're both selected. Now the second window is crossing window. Now this is where it has everything to do with which direction you're essentially pulling your window. We're going to move up to the top right side of the model space, left click and release, and now as I drag crossing window, look at that. Suddenly everything that it touches, even if it's not encasing the entire shape, is now selected. So all I have to do is just touch it, escape that little bit, and crossing window selects it. I'll demonstrate that one more time. Cursor up to the top right side of the screen, left click and release immediately, just click once, and crossing window, anything it touches will be selected. So I'll bring this over here. As you can see, it sees that line, even if it's just touching it the tiniest little bit and it's inside of crossing window, that'll select it as well. Just like that. So if I just want to select this corner, all I have to do is drag it here. But if I want to select this corner as well, I would drag crossing window all the way across so that it is also touching this line here, or this one, and we can select that. Click one more time to release that as well. So just once more from the top, I'll bring my right cursor up to the top right portion of the screen, click and release immediately to begin your crossing window, drag it across. As soon as it touches that shape, it's automatically keen to select it. So then I continue to bring it across. Anything I want to select with crossing window, all I have to do is touch it somewhere inside of the cross selection box, and AutoCAD will know we're trying to select it too. So then I just click one more time to complete the selection, and there we have it. Now we'll talk about the third method of selection, the lasso tool selection. Here's how you do it. You're going to move over to the left side of the screen here. You're going to click, but this time instead of letting that click go, you're going to hold it down. So you're going to click and hold, and look at this. Now it's bringing a selection window that is based on the movements of our mouse. And assuming the shape is fully inside of that selection window of our lasso selection, just like this, that will capture it. So we're going to draw a lasso selection that grabs all of our shapes just like so. Then if I release, it selects it for us. Now seems like a good time to get into discussing units. So for that, let's we'll move over here and we'll delete what we have here for our shapes, we'll window select, release, and hit delete. Perfect. Now, to get into units, all you have to do is you can start typing UN, and naturally it takes us to the command line. And if we hit enter, it brings us to drawing units. So currently, we're set in millimeters. Now, if we wish, we just move over to this drop-down menu, we left-click, and as you can see, we've got all kinds of options for what we want to set it to, whether it's metric or architectural and in inches. So in this case, just for demonstration's sake, let's move it over to inches. Left-click. Now let's discuss how these numbers get presented to us. Let us move up to type, and we're going to left click the drop down, and as you can see, it's currently set in decimal. So that means that if we type 5, it's going to be 5 inches. If we type 20, it's going to be 20 inches. However, if we want to think in terms of architectural, for those of you who are more on the landscape side of things or on the architectural side of things, and think more in feet and inches, here's what we do. We're going to move up to type, left click, move over to architectural, and now we're going to be working in inches. So if you type 1, you're going to get a length in 1 inch. If you're going to type 1.5, you'll get a length of 1.5 inch. But if you type 12, you're going to get the length of a foot, which, as you know, 12 inches is. Now, for the sake of discussion today, we're going to put this type back on decimal so that it's nice and precise. And because of where we're working, we're going to go to the drop-down menu for units, left-click, and we'll put it in millimeters. That should make it so that we have nice, round, easy numbers that are also fairly precise. I'll left-click and hit OK. And now those are our units.